What is up, everyone? JD here. Hope you're doing well today. Today, we're going to be disassembling my Monterey Bay Knives Sabertooth. Let's jump into it. All right, guys, I hope this one will help some of you out. I think this is going to be a really easy construction. I do worry a little bit about this possibly not being captive, but I've been fooled in the past before by that actually being captive, and it's just the design aesthetic. You do not need to remove the pocket clip on this one. It doesn't look like. It looks like you can just take apart the 3 screws. I did check them in the review video, and they are AT8. I have Weehaw bits and tools linked down below for you. If you do not have any, they will take you over to the Amazon shop, and if you're going to be doing any other shopping, when you use that Amazon link, it does help the channel. So do the other links that are down in the description as well, guys. So thank you if you do decide to use those. It does help the channel tremendously. So we're going to go ahead, take these out. Now remember, I did indicate these are steel construction. So your little magnets, if you have the NAS burrito roll, will work. If you're picking up the disassembly mat that I have linked down there below, it also has magnets, which I really love that type of construction. It does help keep track of your bits so you don't lose track of them when you're doing your disassembly videos. I think this one's going to be captive, but I think you're going to need to remove the forward screw. We'll see what type of captive pivot it is, because if it is a straight through D, I may flip it over. This was perfectly centered though, so I will need to check that when I'm done here. So with this, it may seem a little odd, but you can lift up your lock bar access, close the blade, and that'll allow the spring to kind of pop that off. As you can see, this is probably why it is gritty. There's way too much oil on it. So this cleanup will really help tremendously. So one thing to take notice of, it is a full straight through D pivot. So I'm probably going to go ahead and flip this to the other side, and then the bearing is riding directly on that steel liner that's on this side, and it does look like your pocket clip screws help keep that fastener in place. So there's a lot of stuff going on here to pay attention to. I am not going to install skiffs because I do like the Delrin washers. Plus, I've been flipping it on that steel liner, and I worry about making a new track. It does look like it's a hardened steel liner. So that is a big time plus. You know what I forgot to grab though? First, let's go ahead and grab a thumbnail. It is a little low. All right, and then I forgot to grab one of my circuit board cleaning Q-tips to do the T10 ball hole. Let me pull that out. I usually try to get as much of this out in advance just in case, but yeah, because I was like, if the knife itself is super dirty, I can only imagine what the detent ball hole is looking like. I'm going to grab another one and do that as well. So let me go ahead and just clean that out while I'm in here. We'll set that to the side. Let's get a fresh one and see if we can just really get any of this cleanup should really help the action a ton. We'll make sure there's no oil. And then we will there was definitely not as much left. Whoop, where are you going, my friend? We don't need you anymore right now. I even polished the liner. That is pretty impressive. I do feel like the lock bar tension is plenty good, so I'm not too worried about cleaning that. Let me pop this pivot out of here. No, it is not. The D shape is just on this tip here, which means that the D shape is only on this side on the scale. That's interesting that they decided only to do the titanium scale and not the D shape on the titanium scale, and not on the steel lock bar insert, the D not on that. So that is an interesting choice. Again, I'm just trying to hit up everything that I can think of to get all of that excess oil off, because that is just really going to make the knife perform very, very well. All right, once I clean this, I will measure it to tell you the size of the skiffs, but honestly, with the Delrin style washers, they're usually nice size ceramic balls. They put plenty of them in there. They're pretty tightly grouped. I just don't feel it necessary to replace these. Although I will say the track is really not that bad considering I had flipped this for a full day before doing this disassembly. All right, where did you go, my friend? Okay, I think I got everything. Let me just check that pivot one more time. Can't remember. No, I didn't get the pivot yet. Okay. I was like, I can't remember if I got the pivot. And this looks like, I don't know if they thread locked this in. It looks like it's all one piece construction. All right, so we have everything that we need. And remember, the D shape is on this side and it is facing the rear. Oh, did I clean this, guys? Did I? I can't remember. Let me move that out just real quick. Try just in case any grit or oil got behind the lock bar. It's a little dirty, but it wasn't awful. It looks like it was more on the top than it was on the bottom. Couldn't remember if I had got this side. I think I did because I remember saying, oh, look, they polished it, which I thought was an interesting discovery. That's the word I'm looking for. Let me clean this as well. And I know some people fuss at me. They're like, why are you wasting lube in your stop pin hole? That's just to keep it in place. 1, 2, to make sure that it comes out easily. And 3, just in case, not that I'm thinking that's the case, but just in case the tolerances are not super tight, if there is enough play where it could potentially rattle, which again, I don't think it'll happen. That's usually a standoff thing, not a stop pin thing. Let's go ahead while we have it out. I think it's a little bit easier to coat my layer of lube on the pivot this way. All right. The D shape is facing rearward. I'm hoping that'll show up on camera for you. So I am going to install this with the D shape facing the rear and hope that it stays in place when I go to reassemble this. I think I got it rear-ish facing. All right, and just a little drop there, and then I will work it over the tip of my finger onto the ball bearings. I do a light coating just to prevent it from getting on the lock bar and creating any lock stick. And honestly, with the Hops gun oil, a little goes a very, very long way. All right, so we are in good shape. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna have to clean the finger. Do my one little drop right there. And then we'll go ahead and install the blade, which will fall into place a little bit better when you get it onto the lock bar. I gotta apply a little bit of lube again on the finger to do the other one. I probably could have just done this and then set it back down, but it is what it is. I can already see my D has moved in the wrong direction. So to fix that, I'm going to support the blade with my index finger. I'm going to drop the lock bar, and then I'm just going to work it into position. So I think it is in the proper position now. Set everything down carefully. I'm going to check to see where my track has started, which is on the more polished side of that washer. Going to go ahead and reinstall everything from there. And then I'm going to do myself the favor and put that same tiny little drop in that stop pin hole, line up my barrels, and again supporting the blade, Gonna go ahead and disengage the lock bar. And my D shape was a little too high. Yep, my D shape is a little too high. So I'm going to disengage the lock bar and try to use my T8 to spin that into place. And there we go. Everything spun into place. I know people are going to be like, you made that look way too easy. I would probably say, knowing this, at this point, what I would have said looking back, if you haven't already started the process, is take these two T8s out and take that pivot screw out and just disassemble it from this side. It's probably going to be a little bit easier, because then you'll have left the standoffs on the same side as the lock bar. But it's not, impossible to do this disassembly this way. But that captive pivot should make it easier to tighten this down. I'm going to go just a little tight and back it out slightly. And then I'm going to go ahead, grab my two standoff screws. This looks like there's a little bit of Loctite in there. Let me go ahead and just clean this since I'm here. Clean this out just to keep the threads, keep those threads clean. I know they're steel, but I still, I practice this like it's titanium. I don't want any kind of binding happening when I'm reinstalling these. And whoop, there we go. And I think it would just be easier to reinstall the, knowing the way that the D shape is facing, to disassemble it from the show side. I personally like to disassemble from the lock bar side, just because it makes reassembling it a little bit easier for me personally, personal preference. No side to side. Ooh, that dropped really fast. Dead center. My fingers are a little bit oily, so I'm just gonna, with the cloth, check it. Yeah, no side to side play. You know what I didn't check? No up and down play. Ooh. Dropping really fast now. Ooh. Yeah, some of the grit is gone. Still can hear the detemp ball track wearing in, so I'm glad I did put just a tiny touch of lube on there. But there's your disassembly and maintenance for your Monterey Bay knives. Sabertooth, guys, I hope this helped you out there. If you enjoyed the video, a like would be appreciated. Definitely hit up those affiliate links. It helps the channel. A special shout out and thanks to the channel members. Your support helps the channel, and I appreciate and love you guys for it. I'm out of here. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a great week. Peace.